Hey guys, I'm actually in the baby's room right now because he's sleeping in my room and there's not really good light in there. Behind me is where we're going to be putting the pack and play or his crib, depending, whatever, when we move him in here, because he's still in our room for now. Anyways, I wanted to do a postpartum items you need vlog. Because I was so confused. Like, I didn't know what to buy. The only things I knew to buy were stuff that people had recommended, and even then I ended up with other stuff I hadn't, thought about. So I'm just, any of you ladies that are pregnant, I want to know what you need for you. Not for the baby, but what you need for you, at least, the first month after you've had him. Or her. So anyways, the first thing, as far as directly after you've had the baby, they gave me this in the hospital. It's a Sips cleaning bottle. I think you can buy these online as well, but they gave me one, and I wouldn't have ever thought of it. But you fill this with as warm of water as you can handle, and there's a little spray sort of thing with 4 holes, and you squeeze it, spray it while you're peeing or whatever, and it feels great, especially if you have a tear or anything. I imagine even if not, but I had a crazy tear, and this just, it felt awesome. At the hospital, they obviously give you maternity pads, and honestly, I wouldn't even bother packing a ton of pads for you at the hospital, because I think the maternity pads are so much better and you don't have to worry about them. Pack a couple obviously for the trip home, but yeah, maybe the last day you're there, depending what you want to do. But the maternity pads are probably this long, and they are about this wide. They're square. They give you mesh underwear to wear with them so they don't fall out. You do kind of feel a little bit like you're wearing a diaper, but it is so worth it. You don't have to worry about leaking anywhere. I bled fairly heavily afterwards, and I didn't leak on the hospital bed or on the sheets or anything in my hospital gown or anything. So definitely wear those. But when you are going home, definitely get pads. I've got 2 kinds. These were stay-free, overnight, super absorbent ones. I use these probably the 2nd through 4th week, and I use these. These are always overnight, heavy protection or whatever. They've got the wings, and they are super long. They go all the way up to your, behind your butt in your underwear. And they were great for the first week to 2 weeks. But then they got a little bit bulky and I didn't need them anymore. That's why I switched down to these ones. They gave me this in the hospital, but you can also buy this online. I had never thought about it. You can also probably buy it at Walgreens. Walmart has pretty much the same thing, except instead of aerosol, it's like a spritzer bottle. It's Dermaplast antibacterial pain relieving spray. It's got aloe vera in it and vitamin E and everything, and you can spray it 3 or 4 times a day, and you just spray it down on your cut, and it's a really cold sensation, but that doesn't hurt at all, believe me. And then it just kind of eases any pain you're having from your tear or anything. Again, I'm sure it'd be great for even if you didn't tear, but definitely if you did tear. Same goes with these. These are witch hazel pads. Some people also call them Tux pads. You buy them in the hemorrhoid section of the store, and they were awesome. They are, here, I'll show you what they look like. I used almost this whole jar, and there were 100 in them, and I have that much left. I would line my pads with them, and they just felt nice. At first they were cool, obviously they warm up, but they kind of do the same thing as the Dermaplast does, and I would use them both. So they're fairly thin, and they're just wet. They don't smell bad. Anyways, and you would just line your pad with them, and like when you sit down on them, they feel so nice. And I lined all the way back because I also had, from pushing, I had got hemorrhoids. Like, I don't anymore, but from pushing I did. And they help those too, because for a while you only want to sit, because like as soon as you sit you just feel so much pain. It's ridiculous. Now they prescribed me Motrin. This is 800 milligrams, but even if they don't, ibuprofen, same thing, over the counter. That was so nice. I still use that. I use it probably every night, every other night. I don't need them during the day anymore, but I was needing them like every 6 hours. It was ridiculous. And then these also, I wouldn't have ever thought about this, but stool softeners. Sorry, I think the baby's crying, so I have to hurry. Stool softeners. They prescribed these to me because if you're on iron, which I was, or Percocet, or any of those things afterwards, it automatically toughens your stool up. Plus, also, you don't want to be passing crazy hard bowel movements right after you had a baby, and especially not if you've tore like I did. Like the first few times actually was pretty ridiculous, and I couldn't imagine if I didn't have the stool softener. The last few things I'm going to tell you about, nipple cream. If you're nursing, definitely. I didn't have to use a ton. It was just mostly the first week. I cracked and bled a little bit, but not horribly, not as bad as I've heard some people experience it. And also breast pads. These are Johnson's. They absorb a ton, surprisingly, for being like a cheaper pad, not that bad. They've got like a little adhesive so they don't slip around in your shirt. The other thing, I would say a breast pump, either manual or electric, even if you're planning on just breastfeeding. I got mastitis, and it was really painful to have him nurse because, I don't know, it just was bad. And then pumping was bad too, but it hurt less because you can kind of control the suction and stuff on that. So it was really nice to ease myself up with that. And also, when my milk first came in, I was really like swollen, and just pumping like a little bit eased it up. So, oh, and a boppy pillow, or of some variety. Even if you're not nursing, it was so great afterwards. I was so tired and so weak from having him. Even when I was feeding him